Most people believe intelligence makes life easier. If you're smart, you're supposed to have all the answers. You should make better decisions, solve problems faster, and succeed more often than everyone else. But psychology paints a more complicated picture. Research suggests that higher intelligence can come with unexpected psychological challenges. In some cases, the same mental abilities that help someone excel can also make everyday life feel more overwhelming. You notice things other people miss. You think about conversations long after they've ended. You question everything, even yourself. And while these traits can be powerful, they can also become exhausting if they're left unchecked. If you've ever felt like your own mind is working against you, these 8 psychological patterns may explain why. Let's start with one of the most common. 1. Your mind never really stops. Have you ever replayed the same conversation dozens of times, wondering if you said the wrong thing? Or spent hours weighing every possible outcome before making a simple decision? Highly analytical people often process information much more deeply than average. Instead of accepting the first explanation, they naturally search for patterns, hidden meanings, and alternative possibilities. That ability is incredibly useful when solving complex problems. But in everyday life, it can become a trap. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as analysis paralysis, when thinking becomes so detailed that taking action feels almost impossible. Rather than helping you move forward, your thoughts begin pulling you in every direction at once. Ironically, the smarter your reasoning becomes, the harder simple decisions can feel. And this leads directly to another challenge that many intelligent people quietly experience. 2. Feeling alone in a crowded room. Being surrounded by people doesn't always mean feeling understood. Many intellectually curious people crave conversations that go beyond small talk. They enjoy discussing ideas, human behavior, science, philosophy, or the deeper reasons behind why people do what they do. But everyday conversations aren't always built around those topics. As a result, some people begin feeling disconnected, not because they dislike others, but because they struggle to find conversations that genuinely stimulate them. Over time, this can create a quiet sense of loneliness. Not the loneliness of being physically alone, the loneliness of feeling mentally unmatched. Of course, intelligence isn't the only reason someone may feel this way. Personality, interests, and life experiences all play important roles too. But for many people with highly curious minds, finding someone who truly understands how they think can be surprisingly difficult. And the next pattern might explain why social situations can feel even more draining. 3. You notice more than most people. Imagine walking into a room and instantly sensing that something feels off. Nobody has said anything. Everyone is smiling. Yet somehow, you notice the tension. Some people with strong analytical abilities are also unusually observant. They pick up on subtle facial expressions, changes in tone, body language, and patterns in behavior that others might overlook. While this can make someone an excellent problem solver, or even a great judge of character, it also has a downside. Your brain is constantly collecting information. It's looking for inconsistencies, hidden motives, and possible outcomes. That means it rarely gets a chance to truly relax. Sometimes the biggest source of mental exhaustion isn't what happens around you. It's everything your brain notices that nobody else seems to see. But if constantly analyzing the outside world is tiring, constantly analyzing yourself can be even worse. 4. You set impossible standards for yourself. People often assume intelligent individuals are naturally confident. Surprisingly, that's not always true. In fact, the more someone understands how much they don't know, the easier it becomes to doubt themselves. Psychologists have long studied a pattern known as imposter syndrome, where capable people struggle to believe they've actually earned their success. Instead of celebrating achievements, they explain them away. I just got lucky. It wasn't that difficult. They'll eventually realize I'm not as capable as they think. On top of that, many highly driven people develop perfectionistic habits. They don't just want to do well. They want everything to be flawless. And because perfection is impossible, they often end up feeling disappointed, even after doing exceptional work. Ironically, the same mind that pushes them toward excellence can also become their harshest critic. And when that happens, even success can stop feeling rewarding. Which brings us to another challenge that often surprises people. 5. Boredom feels almost painful. Everyone gets bored occasionally. But for some highly curious minds, boredom feels different. repetitive routines, predictable conversations, work that offers no challenge. These situations don't just feel dull, they can feel mentally draining. That's because curiosity is often one of the strongest drivers of motivation. When the brain isn't learning something new, solving a difficult problem, or exploring unfamiliar ideas, motivation can quickly disappear. From the outside, this may look like procrastination. People might assume you're lazy or unmotivated. But sometimes the real issue isn't a lack of effort. It's a lack of stimulation. A mind built to explore struggles when it's forced to stay in the same place for too long. But perhaps the greatest challenge isn't boredom. It's what happens when you start questioning everything, including the world around you. 6. You question everything. Some people accept things because they've always been that way. Others can't help asking, why? Why do we follow this rule? Why do people believe this? Is there actual evidence, or are we just repeating what we've always been told? Highly analytical people often have a strong need to understand how things work before accepting them. That curiosity has fueled some of history's greatest discoveries. But it also comes with a cost. When you question everything, certainty becomes harder to find. Instead of seeing life in black and white, you begin noticing countless shades of grey. You realize that many problems don't have simple answers. And while that deeper understanding can make you wiser, it can also leave you feeling mentally exhausted. Sometimes, knowing more doesn't make life easier. It simply reveals how much more there is to know. And that's only the beginning. 7. Your emotions can be more intense than people expect. There's a common stereotype that intelligent people are cold or purely logical. But psychology suggests the relationship between intelligence and emotion is far more complex. Many intellectually curious people don't lack emotions. They feel them deeply. They replay painful memories. They imagine different outcomes. They worry about the future. And because they're constantly analyzing those emotions, they often experience them for much longer than other people. Instead of simply feeling anxious, they begin analyzing why they're anxious. Then they analyze their analysis. It's a cycle that's surprisingly difficult to escape. Learning to observe your thoughts without getting trapped inside them is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. Because intelligence alone doesn't protect you from emotional suffering. Sometimes it makes it harder to let go, which leads to one final paradox. 8. You can become your own biggest obstacle. Most people believe external challenges are what hold them back. But for highly analytical minds, the biggest obstacle is often internal. It's the voice that says, "You're not ready yet. You need more information. Wait until it's perfect." Weeks become months. Months become years. Not because you lack ability, but because your own standards keep moving further away. The truth is, no amount of thinking can replace action. Some of the world's greatest ideas were never shared because someone kept waiting for the perfect moment. And that perfect moment never came. The people who make the biggest impact aren't always the smartest. They're often the ones who learn when to stop thinking and finally begin. If you recognize yourself in several of these patterns, it doesn't necessarily mean you're highly intelligent. Many of these experiences can also be influenced by personality, anxiety, stress, or other life circumstances. But if there's one lesson psychology consistently teaches, it's this. The same mind that helps you see possibilities can also create unnecessary suffering. Intelligence isn't just about solving difficult problems. It's about learning which problems deserve your attention and which ones deserve your peace. The goal isn't to think less. It's to think more intentionally, because your greatest strength should never become your greatest burden.